The following program is brought to you by the Internet Broadcasting Organization.
Hey, and good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of the Al Young Show. And with me, of course, is my co-host, Sergeant W.P. Denise.
Hello, everyone, and it's sure good to be back. And Al, we got a lot to talk about today about what's going on with the VA.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
It's funny. You remember the whole time we've been saying to everybody, go there and get your appointments, make sure you're taken care of. But gee, from the looks of things, so many people have been going, and the whole system is backed up so much that they really went into like a meltdown.
Well, I think what's happening with the VA, and like anything else, they're doing cutbacks. But you cannot sacrifice a veteran's life because there are cutbacks.
Well,
We just simply can't do that. What they have to do is prioritize. I mean, you might go in with a headache, and I might go in with a cut fingernail. You prioritize, but you just don't arbitrarily leave me off the list.
It's like they were saying. I think the system became so overwhelmed. And listen, first of all, we know that there are a lot of veterans out there, and a lot of veterans are doing what they're supposed to do to protect the country. So we mentioned this also before that, hey, listen, it's the country's time to take care of that particular individual. And male, female, my whole thing is when you go there, you're expecting everything to be one way. And if it's any other way, of course, we tell people to go to patient advocacy and write your congressman or do whatever you need to do. But the system was or is it's broken at a lot of places because they're overwhelmed. But if you're overwhelmed, my whole thing is I would think that you would be saying, well, listen, we need help. Why not get help? That's what you do to take care of people. You ask for the things that you need. I don't think the cuts were that great that we should have been saying, we're not going to take care of people. We're going to delay this and we're going to do that. And that is another thing that when you do go to a VA or you go to any place and they don't take care of you and they keep throwing up little obstacles for you, you get turned off. You don't want to go back.
Well, just to chime in, what happened in Phoenix has caused every VA hospital to come under fire. And that's a good thing, because if it didn't happen, if no one passed away, the light might not have shined on these hospitals.
Like I've been saying, it always takes a tragedy for things to happen. But yes, it was a good thing that it happened. It's unfortunate that people lost their lives due to their inability to take care of them. But if you start going places and you find out that, hey, there seems to be a system-wide flaw, or for a long time people have just been hiding things, my thing is, hey, start taking care of business immediately instead of just starting, like right now, to me, still, I look at a lot of things as being a lot of political waving, everybody's going to get out and let themselves be seen that, oh yeah, I was, but my thing is, if you're really going to do something, go out there, make sure things happen, and that there isn't a reoccurrence of it, instead of just a lot of talking and pointing fingers, because the first thing they like to do is point fingers. And then the second thing that's going to happen is as soon as everything calms down, then things will go right back to normal. That I don't want to see.
Well, that's not going to happen for a while. I have to honestly say, because of the tragedy, and again, my deepest condolences go out to the families in Phoenix and all the other VAs that are, been affected. But because of someone's inability and their negligence to service veterans is why everybody's being looked at. The authorities from the higher, starting from the Pentagon or wherever the secretary for the VA hospital sits, they need to make sure that their counterparts, that these people that they put in these positions are doing their job. Go out, conduct audits, find out why are patients waiting so long if they're waiting. Let's see, if you don't do checks and balance, it's just like having a checkbook. You can't put money in the bank and do not do an audit to do checks and balance to see how your money is being spent.
Well, listen, my thing is right now everything's going on. Everybody's got something to say. Everybody's want to get their name out there. And it's happened over and over again. As soon as the smoke clears, then is it back to business as usual, or is it going to be something that, all right, now this is something everybody's got to keep a finger on?
Well, right.
Because, it's like a kid. You punish your kid for doing something wrong, and as soon as you turn your back, they're right back at it.
Well, you said as soon as the smoke dies down. Well, right now they're on fire, so I don't think it's going to die down anytime soon.
Listen,
now.
Remember, we've got an election coming up. So as long as that's going to be in the spotlight, guess what? You'll see everybody out there waving their little sabers and everything else. But, I don't want to see people talking a whole lot and pointing fingers. What you really need to see
is to clean up. They need to clean up.
They need to take care of business. And then once the business is taken care of, ensure that it doesn't happen again. Because what's the number? 57,000?
Well, let me just give you a little statistics of what's going on. An audit was done, and more than 57,000 nationwide veterans awaiting an initial VA visit.
Now, that's initial.
Exactly, initial visit. But in the state of Florida, we have 8,500 veterans awaiting a visit.
That's still a lot of people. And that's for the initial visit. That's when we're telling everybody, hey, you need to go get things taken care of. And then they go, and then they say, well, okay, we're going to give you an appointment eventually. And what do you think happens to those people when they can't get seen or they're being kind of thrown to the side? They're not coming back.
Exactly.
They're not coming back.
Well, I want to tell the veterans out there, it's hard for me to tell you don't get discouraged because it's the natural thing to do. If you make an appointment, you don't get the appointment, you don't want to be bothered. You'll go somewhere else. But the VA is there to service our veterans, and we want to be sure that the veterans get what they deserve. If you make an appointment, what I can suggest, if you make an appointment and you do not get that appointment within 30 days, call back. You have to do your own homework. Well, it's like the teacher giving you a lesson. If you don't do your homework, the lesson is just given. We need you to do your homework. I just want to read a little statistic.
Well, hold on. One last thing. Not only your homework, but listen, again, if you're going to get anything sometimes from people, it's the guy who's persistent, who keeps going back to make sure things happen. Because once you throw up your hands, then you become another statistic.
Yes.
And your statistic is you'll be amongst the 57,000 people who are still waiting to be seen. Or you'll be in that group of people that once you're seen and you need another follow-up appointment, who knows when you'll get that follow-up appointment. Listen, I don't care what you do. Like anything in the military, anything else, if you order a part and you can't seem to get it squared away, then you keep calling up the people who's supposed to get you the part. You keep calling up your counterparts to make sure that things get done. Same thing with your personal care, and
Yes.
same thing, if you have to go to the VA over and over, but you keep going. And then after you go so long and exhausted so much, then, hey, start calling people.
I just want to give you a little statistics that we received. The C.W. Bill Young VA Center, it will get additional scrutiny after this crucial audit of veterans awaiting time released. Just 3% of the VA from the C.W. Young Center patients had to wait more than 30 days for an appointment, compared to the 4% nationwide. And 5% are at the James A. Haley VA Center. I say this to say to all my veterans out there, we are our best advocate. And if you call for an appointment for whatever clinic that you have to visit, and they says we'll send you a card or you'll get the card in the mail and you have not received it, please call back. Because you have to see about your health. They're only there to provide the health care for you. But you have to be that pounding force. You have to be that squeaky wheel to get the oil. Call, follow up. It's not being a thorn in their anatomy, but it's you doing your job to make sure that you're being seen. So that's what I say. You just have to be, persistent in seeking the proper health care.
Well, again, when you look at Bay Pines, which is C.W. Young, and then you look at James A. Haley, now, you know what? I'm the guy who goes there and I kind of get everything and I get them regularly and I get all my little stuff done. I guess that's because when I go, I try to make sure that everything happens. That, I am my own best advocate. I practice what I preach. I've never really had any problems. But now listen, here's the thing. I never had any problems, but there are other people who had problems. If you got a problem, then, hey, right now, while everything is happening, is the best time to start taking care of these problems because people are finally listening. All of a sudden, you've got their attention. So if you're having any issues, this is the time to bring it forward. Let people all of a sudden who need to take care of business, take care of that business. You don't do it now, then something's wrong with you. Because this is the perfect time when people are saying, what can we do for you? How can we help you? How do we fix something? And they're going out of their way to do things. This is a good time for you to take care of business.
So, with all that's going on, we're not going to beat them in the head anymore. We just want to remind all our veterans out there, don't get discouraged. Don't lose faith in the VA. We have to be persistent because they're there for us. They're there to provide a service to us. And if we don't go, then they get off the hook. And we definitely don't want that to happen. So to all my Floridian veterans out there and to everyone listening, don't let what's going on with the, Phoenix and the veterans passing away there to discourage you from visiting your local VA hospital. Please go there if you need to. Another thing we want to talk about, Al, the U.S. troops, we have an incident that happened in Afghanistan where 5 U.S. troops were killed by friendly fire.
Yes.
And it's so unfortunate because during war, sometimes this happens.
Well, it's been happening for a long time. I mean, it's very unfortunate. But, when you start losing lives because it's coalition force against coalition. I mean,
yes.
Not against, but coalition forces.
Working with other coalition.
Yeah, and not coordinating everything exactly, then these things that happen. When we lose lives unnecessarily, it makes it even that more tragic.
Yes.
Because, we weren't killed by hostile forces, we were killed by our own forces, then that's when people really feel bad because, someone is saying, we did something wrong. We caused a tragedy. People lost their lives because of miscommunication or anything that may have caused that. So this time, 5 people that were
5 soldiers.
killed. And, that's hard, and that's a lot of people.
Yes,
and,
one too many.
Our things is, our sympathy goes out to them and to their families. And, I guess in war, I always would look at it in the sense that you pray so hard that you come back home and that you don't get in harm's way, even though that's the business of war. But we pray all the time. And for these things like this to happen, it's just unfortunate, and it's real travesty that they did happen. But there's nothing we can do other than pray for people and pray that people get things squared away. So again, our hearts and sympathy goes out to the families of those who were killed, but at the same time, we're just hoping that, hey, the people get it together and that this doesn't happen one more time.
Yeah, so again, my sympathy goes out to the family as well as the coalition force, because we're all working together. So they're mourning as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yes. One other thing I think we should probably talk to you about is pretty soon we're not going to be stationary anymore. What we're going to start doing is going to different sites to do our broadcasts. So if you're interested in having us come out and do a broadcast at your particular center, if it's a veterans organization or anyone who sponsors veterans or active military, please get in touch with us, because we're going to be going out to different places to do the show from now on, and we're trying to get a lot more people involved with us.
Okay. Another thing I'd like to speak about today is the Governor's Veterans Service Award. Floridians are being honored for their service in the military. So I'll just read a brief invitation that was given. Whereas it is proper for all Floridian honored American military veterans, including Florida, more than 1.5 million million veterans are living here in Florida.
Right.
Right. And the governor wants to recognize those veterans by awarding them an award. This service, I think, is taking place June 30th at 11:30. The location would be in Tampa at the American Legion Post 111. And that's located at 6918 North Florida Avenue in Tampa, Florida. Again, the registration will be at 10 a.m. So if you're interested, if you have served in the military and you're currently a Floridian citizen, please join them June 30th, 11:30 at the American Legion Post 111. You need to register at 10 a.m. on that day. And again, that address will be 6918 North Florida Avenue in Florida, 33604.
The interesting thing is, I think before all the things start hitting the news and everything else, did you notice that all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, but things started happening. Governor Scott started doing a lot of stuff for veterans. Now, I'm not a Republican, but when people are in office and they do things for veterans, I don't care who's in office or what group it is. My thing is, you got to start looking at, hey, what are you doing? Anything to help a veteran, and I think it's great that he's doing this.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think I look at everything as, well, politics. But then I think some things are just done because they need to be done. And hey, while I'm here, I'm going to take care of business. So my hat's off to Governor Scott for taking care of veterans, and keep up the good work.
Well, that's what our show is all about, veterans taking care of veterans. And when we get the politician involved, it's a good thing, because we're not just veterans today, we're veterans every day. Once a veteran, always a veteran. Mm-hmm. And we need to be recognized, we need to be looked after, we need to know that, the public know that we rendered a service. While they were on or about their business, we were protecting this country.
Well, while you're going in, I mean, these things are promised to you that, hey, once you finish, we'll help you out there. We'll be there for you. And to the most part, I would say that they're there for us. I mean, things happen. Like I said, it's almost like a street that has no stoplight, and something tragic has to happen, and that's most of the time that's the way it is for them to finally put up a signal. And my thing is, we look at the system, things go wrong, but you know, I like to see people come forward before things are going wrong, that they're doing something and you're saying, gee, thank you. You know, you're doing something for us. You remembered us, other than the fact that it's when we want you to remember us the most. And I just feel that this is really a great step in the right direction.
Well, again, you know, sometimes something bad has to happen for something good to come out of it. And, you know, it's a great loss, because when we lose one person, you have lost a lot. Mm-hmm. But to lose 17 veterans because of negligence, someone needs to be held accountable. And out of this bad thing of them hiding and not providing a service, the good thing is they need the pot needs to be stirred up.
Well, you have a lot of people who lost their lives. I mean, you know, but again, here we go. There are those who have made a sacrifice unwillingly and unknowingly to them, but look what it's done to the system. And I mean, there's no way that you can justify one life or one person's misery when the system is screwed up. What it did bring out, though, is, listen, something's wrong, let's fix it. And I think, again, my whole thing was, you know, I think the minute something goes wrong, though, we like to start saying, let's throw that sacrificial lamb into the fire.
Yes.
You know, let's get rid of somebody. Just to, you know, and I always think that just to get rid of someone, to make it look good, so you can say, well, we got rid of the main problem, when that person may not have been the main problem, because a lot of times you just don't know what's going on in the system. But now when it's out there, and you know, if it can be fixed, well, I know it's going to be fixed, because you know, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Because if not, I think then that's when heads really need to roll.
Well, the next person that's sitting on the hot seat, go in to replace Secretary Shinseki, he's already on the fire.
Well, no, I don't know, but he refused the position. He turned it down, and he said, no, get somebody else.
Okay, well, whoever takes that position, they know they have some work to do. And it's just like, you know, someone explained at our chapter yesterday, chapter 83. If you have a base commander that's in charge of the troops on that base, and something terribly happens, guess who gets fired? The base commander.
Well, a lot of times, you know, when you do that, I mean, of course, the base commanders, but then what about all those people? You know, here's my whole thing when I look at a lot of things also, though. If you got people working for you, doing things to help you run something, because the base commander isn't down there in everybody's office every day.
No, he's not.
So you have people working for you who's supposed to be supplying you with information to make whatever you do more efficient. Now, if you're not getting that information ever, and okay, then when it's time to do something, they say, well, we're going to fire you, and things are supposed to be running a certain way, and in the military, we know how they run. So I think when you do that a lot of times, unless this person knew about all the inefficiencies that were going on in different departments and everything, it's just kind of, to me, it's kind of like the sacrificial lamb. That's just, because we got to do something with somebody, so let's get rid of that person.
Well,
and the system doesn't change.
No, well, the only thing they have to do, Al, what has to happen now, we have to have teams. And you have to make sure that all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
Listen,
so you hold everybody in those positions that are getting paid.
Let me ask you something. When you have an Inspector General's investigation, or let's say just an inspection, they're looking at everything that's going on. So people should know what's going on. Now, if one person or if you've got a battalion and one company is not doing what they're supposed to do, but they're sending you up stuff and saying everything's great, well, we're doing wonderful.
Well, that's why you have to do your pop-up visits. This is where you have to go out to these sites, not on a constant, but you have to go out to these sites and make sure that the person that administrator is doing what he or she is getting paid for.
I think that's true, but I just say a lot of times people do things and they do it underhandedly, so you'll never know. You know, you're thinking A and B is going on the whole time, or you're under the impression the system is, it has faults, but didn't know it didn't have, I wasn't under the impression it had major faults. And in this case, we have a system that had major, catastrophic faults. And, it's just coming to light because it was hidden. So if it was hidden, who's the bad guy?
Not only that, if it was hidden in this hospital, let's look at all the other hospitals, because everybody had some stuff going on. Gainesville was on the hot seat last week or a couple of weeks ago, So it's a good thing. Good comes out of bad, And it's unfortunate that what happened in Phoenix happened, but now we get to see where else is this disease infecting.
Well, like I said, here it is already. When they come up with a number of 57,000 people, that means somebody was out doing some homework real quick, because you wouldn't have come up with it that fast unless everybody's being looked at under the microscope. But it's something that's continuing, and we're going to continue. And like I said a little earlier, for those of you who wish for us to come out and do a mobile broadcast at your particular place, please get in touch with us. That's the AlYoungShow.com, and we'll be glad to start coming out and visit. So,
on a good note, before we go, we always want to recognize our children that graduated, and Al had a daughter that graduated high school.
Yes.
So we want to tell Keisha Young, congratulations, job well done, Keisha. I knew you would do it, and now we just got to make sure that Keyshawn follows, and good things happen.
She completed all 3 years of ROTC also.
Yes, she was an ROTC candidate, and I've had the opportunity to see this young lady really do what we teach her, what ROTC has taught her to do, and she's very well at it. Keisha, I commend you for a job well done. Al, thank you for, being the dad that you are.
Well, I try.
And until next week, we will always want to congratulate our graduates on a job well done. Our veterans out there, don't get discouraged. Please continue to visit your local VA hospital. Make sure that the services that are rendered to you is of high standards. And until next week, thanks for chiming in with the Al Young Show.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
This program was brought to you by the Internet Broadcasting Organization, setting the standard for new media broadcasting.